It's a curious book in Irish literature, The Crock of Gold, because it was kind of a forgotten novel. James Stephens he's kind of a lost writer in Ireland. I think The Crock of Gold had its success overseas. It was probably a bigger book among Americans. And James Stephens was writing about Irish mysticism at a time when modernism was really kicking in. So when Joyce and Beckett, when Joyce was writing Ulysses, it was almost as if he completely wiped the literary plate clean. Yeah. And James Stephens was still toiling in the area of, the more traditional Irish themes. Very successfully, in my opinion. It's one of my favourite books. And I suppose part of the reason why I'm involved with Footsbarn on this is that one evening myself and Freddie were talking, and we were just having dinner, and we were talking about books we loved, and The Crock of Gold came up as a subject that Freddie thought would be a wonderful subject for Footsbarn to tackle. And I was like, no way, it's one of my favourite books. And The Crock of Gold is one of those books I've bought for people. I've bought many, many copies through the years and gifted them to people. And I remember I gave Bob Dylan a copy of it, like back in 2001, which he'd already read.
Of course.
Yeah, amazing. So like I've been buying that book for people for years, and when Freddie mentioned it, I was like, no way, it's really one of my favourite books of all time. And so we kind of hatched this idea that if Footsbarn ever did decide to do it, that we would try to do it together.
How did you get to know about Footsbarn?
I mean, I was playing a show with the Swell Season, one of my bands in Belfast, about, I want to say now, since 2020, nearly 20 years ago. And no, probably 15 years ago. And I was in a bar afterwards. We were looking for a late drink, and the only place open was this hotel bar, which was predominantly, a Protestant Unionist bar. And we went in, we were having a couple of pints. We were just quietly sitting in the corner, minding our own business, having a beer. Very nice place. And I saw this guy walk into the bar, and he had like eyeliner on, and he looked wild. And one of the things as a performer you begin to you get a nose for are thespians. You kind of get a nose for people who think like you do. I saw this fella come in, and I just thought, wow, I like his energy. He's like, I walked straight up to him and I said, how are you? My name's Glenn. Would you like a drink? And he was like, I'd love a drink. And so we sat down together, and he was with a really wonderful poet called Dermot Healy from Ireland, who I knew. So I sat with the both of them, and we began to talk, and he told me that he was in town. He was part of a theatre group, and of course we had a wonderful chat, and then we began to sing songs, and the song, some of the song choices were funny because we were singing Irish rebel songs, just messing, jokingly, but in this very unionist bar, and it was all very much in good humour, and the unionist boys were singing The Sash, and basically we got into a sing song, but it was like a sing song of kind of oppositional subjects, and then Paddy told me his name was Paddy Hater, which I just thought was the most hilarious, certainly given the circumstances we were in.
Yeah.
And we hit it off, and within a few months I was in India with them, and I was taking part in the musical adventure. So I was swept right up.
Family.
Yeah, I was basically, there was a big arm came around me, and before I knew it, I was in India. Cool. And having a great time.
Right.
Yeah.
Back to Crock of Gold. What do you hope people will take away with them, after seeing Crock of Gold?
It is a difficult book to put on stage, and so what the best I could hope for is that people come away with an appreciation for the magical. Because the book, James Stephens wasn't afraid to deal with subjects that are kind of, on the edge of people kind of laughing, like leprechauns and fairies and stuff that's all actually written in Irish mythology. I mean, it's part of our DNA. But he kind of deals with it in a metaphorical sense. So a lot of the metaphors are about foreign gods coming into our country, which would kind of point towards foreign invasion, and you know, and how culturally we had, you know, our culture had been taken away from us, and it was all about trying to reclaim our pagan ways, and it talks a lot about religion, you know, foreign gods.
Yeah.
Whereas we had our old gods.
Yeah.
So Angus Og represents pagan Ireland, and Pan kind of represents this foreign god that's come in, and then you have the world of men, which he deals with very, very clearly, that human beings are like the most ridiculous, you know, bureaucratic, gombeen type. You know, that basically there's a natural law, and then there's the law of human beings, and then there's the law of the gods. So it's kind of a very metaphorical thing. The thing I expect people, what I'd love people to leave is a sense of lightness. If they left with a sense of lightness in music and just gentility, I think that's what the play really gives.
Great. I've heard a couple of songs that you've done the music for the play, and musically, do they represent the return of songs, you know, the traditional rooted folk music that you are known for?
I consider myself a novice in the area of folk music. I'm very happy to be involved in this, and working with Brendan is particularly great, because Brendan's a very deep-rooted Kerry musician, and I'm trying to keep up with him, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Now, I've written a couple of songs that I'm quite happy with, you know, but everything develops. The great thing with Footsbarn is anything you create, you have to be willing to throw it away, because it may work, it may not with the show. So that's also a great thing to know. Usually in my world, when I write a song, it's the law. Whereas in Footsbarn, no matter how much work you put into a thing, it can just get dumped. And I find that very exciting.
Your focus is on this production at the moment, but where are you creatively right now?
Creatively, I'm kind of spread. I'm spread out in several directions, although very much bringing it back to, you know, I've been writing a bit of film music recently, and writing a bit of music for TV, just because they were jobs during COVID that came in that were really, they were attractive and they were interesting. And although what that can do is it can take you away from your own, vision of what you're doing. So I'm very much at the moment pulling back and beginning to get there's a thing that happens. You begin to get an idea of an album. You begin to get it sort of emerges quite quickly. And I'm in that lovely spot right now where my next record's beginning to emerge in front of me, and I'm enjoying it.
Good.
Yeah.
And are you enjoying your new life here in France?
Yeah, coming here really has just been, I'm trying to keep it as light as possible. We bought a house. Now, you know, the house wasn't so expensive that it's something that we have to really, really worry about. We bought a house. I really want to just enjoy doing it up and enjoy being here. But if it begins to feel like a burden, I'm absolutely happy. I love Ireland. You know, Ireland's my home. It is nice, like, you know, whether you're from Ireland or England or wherever you're from, it is nice to have an escape, somewhere where a release valve, and that's what France is for me right now, and it's very enjoyable.
Absolutely. I know things are still up in the air. You Crock of Gold, with Footsbarn, you're taking it to Paris. There are plans to go to tour Ireland, aren't they? Do you think that will come off, you know, with the current situation?
Yes, I do think it will come off. How it comes off is going to be the question. You know, at one point there was talk of a financial backer and stuff, and all of that's gone away, but that doesn't surprise me, because everything right now is in a very fluid situation. I think it will go to Ireland, and I think what we'll end up doing is we'll end up working very much in the tradition of Footsbarn. One of the things I admire most about this theatre group is that they operate in the old troubadour bardic tradition, that they go to the village, they go to the small village, they set up their tent, they set up their stall, if you like, they do their show, and people show up, and there's a huge appreciation for the amount of energy it takes to go to a place. Now, we do it as rock bands, but we go to rock venues that have infrastructure, that have, you know, whereas what Footsbarn do is they go to a field at the edge of the village, and they go and they play, and this is the single most attractive thing to me about this theatre group. is that they operate in an ancient way,
Absolutely.
and I'm very drawn to it.
Yeah. Okay, and finally, Glenn, just about the pandemics, with 15, 16 months into it, how has it impacted on your life, professionally, personally? How are you coming out of this period? Stronger?
No, I wouldn't say stronger.
No.
I'd say probably like everybody else,
Yeah.
much reduced,
Yeah.
because it was a huge lesson. When you're a performer, there's a certain part of your spirit that's fed by performing, by the energy of others, by the energy of witness, and that has been removed. That's been removed from us, and there's a huge deficit in a lot of my friends. I see it now. I've done okay because I've been around good people, and I've managed to get over here and work in theatre, and so I've kept my creative juices going. But I've really struggled mentally with this. It's been a really difficult time, and I think mainly because, you know, it's one thing to be a songwriter. It's one thing to be an artist of any kind. But if you're a performer, you need an audience. You need a public.
Yeah.
And when the public has been taken away, it's a huge deficit to the spirit. And I'll really appreciate when I go back. Although I'm scared of going back because you know, so much of what we do is staying up on the surfboard and surfing the energy of audiences. And I feel like it's been a massive reset. I'm wondering if I'll remember my words. I have a gig on Saturday, next Saturday. I'm nervous about remembering the words, remembering my place, remembering who I am in that. Because it's existential, actually. You know, when you don't have your not your public, but when you don't have a public to play to. I went busking a few times during the year just to sort of reconnect with the thing, and really enjoyed it. But I'm nervous about it, and I'm really excited about getting back to work. I just hope I can still do it.
Good. Are you enjoying the the production, being in a play? It's different from, you know, being up on stage and you're doing your, as you say, your rock music, your singer-songwriter stuff. How does that? How do you adapt to that? You know, you're part of a play, you're part of an ensemble, you have lines. It's much more stricter, I guess, isn't it? There's a script. There's, you know, there's running order.
And you're just you're serving the play the same way everyone is. So it's lovely in that I'm too busy to think. The minute the show starts, I am busy, and so I don't get a chance to ever think, how is this? How does it? You know, how does it look? How does it feel? I'm just watching the action. We have all these codes. Actors give me a little finger for a certain chord change. I'm literally just, I'm flat out busy, and that, for that time that we're performing, I'm completely at the service of what's happening on the stage, and I find it really enjoyable.
Good. Okay, Glenn, we'll end it there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.